Okay, welcome to week 3 of digital marketing, and this week we are going to talk about a couple of different things. In this video, we are going to review digital strategy, so looking at some of the strategies that we could take and some of the actions from within the steps of those strategies. And in the other video, we are going to look at web design, which obviously all plays into digital strategy as a whole. So let's jump into it. A couple of the objectives here, looking at how strategy relates to marketing strategy and digital marketing execution, looking at demand generation, demand harvesting, and customer relationship management, identifying how to allocate marketing resources across our digital channels, and discussing how to engage in long-term profit maximizing budget allocation. Just having a look at our schedule there, we can see week 3, digital strategy and web design, correlating to chapter 13 of the book and chapter 2 of the book. So make sure that you get those 2 quizzes completed there, chapter 13 and chapter 2. We'll skip past that one and just jump straight into digital strategy. So there are a number of frameworks that we can look at when we're thinking about digital strategy. The top one is the customer journey. Now, the customer journey is not specific to digital marketing. It's something we use right across marketing and the consumer decision-making process. We call it the customer journey. But we can look at how we apply digital touchpoints from within that customer journey. The second one we're going to look at, you may have heard of before, that's ADA. So basically trying to go down to that conversion point. Again, ADA can be used across the board. It's not just for digital marketing, but we will look at how digital marketing plays into the ADA model. The RACE model is a little bit more focused in the digital marketing world, more connected with digital marketing. So we'll have a look at that one, even though that's quite similar to ADA. And then POEM as well is the different types of media that you can have as a digital company. So we'll have a look at those different types of media and where they might fit in the different frameworks and the customer journey as a whole. So when we think about the customer journey, we've obviously got 5 stages in that. So firstly is awareness, becoming aware of a product. Second is consideration. So you've actually found the product and now you are starting to consider whether you want it or not. You are comparing it to other companies, other products. Then we get to the purchase stage, which is obviously the important one for most companies. The next stage after that is service. So how you're being looked after at that point, your customer relationships. And then once you've got that sorted out, you go into that loyalty expansion. So what are you doing to follow up with your customers and keep them engaged with your company? Obviously, with the awareness stage, we're looking at things like search ads, display ads, things that gets your message out as much as possible. In that consideration phase, when you've already got people connected to you and they've gone to your website, you're looking at how you can actually engage them through your website, optimizing your website so it's the best possible layout for people to view it. Your social media there, engaging them through that. Then purchase is obviously going to be maybe something more targeted, like an email campaign. Service is probably going to be more targeted as well, something like emails or texts. And then your loyalty expansion could be through email again. It could be something like your social media. So plenty of outlets there for digital touchpoints. Now, when we think of touchpoints, what are touchpoints? So a touchpoint doesn't have to be digital, but it's basically any time that your brand gets exposed to a customer. So if you get a text from a company, you see a company on a television ad, you see them on a billboard, you get an email from a company, even if somebody talks about the company in a conversation, those are all touch points. Every time you are exposed to that brand, every time that brand is in your brain, that's a touch point. So there are a lot of digital touch points. We've got a little map here that kind of represents the same as the last one. But in here, we've got all of the digital touch points in blue and then some of the sort of physical touch points in gray there. So as we're going through that awareness stage, we talked about search engines as being a good place for people to find out information. Your organic social media, so people actually searching your social media and finding it. Also, paid social media posts might be helpful there. Backlinks from different websites. So basically, a backlink is any link on someone else's site that takes a customer to your site. So if somebody's on another site, they might click on a link that goes to your site and become aware of your company in the same way affiliate ads do. And then we've got all our physical ones here, print ads, word of mouth, all those sorts of ones. And then getting into consideration, we're jumping back up into the digital touch points. So search engine optimization, making your website as updated as possible. Your UI and UX there on your website, making sure your website is fully designed correctly. That's why we're going to be talking about web design in the next video. Different chats and reviews and pop-ups. All of those are going to have an effect on how somebody considers your product. Uh, Getting towards the purchase, we're looking at touch points that increase activation. So like a targeted email, for example. Text would do the same thing. We see email there. And the user experience on the website might increase the likelihood that people are going to purchase. In the physical world, we could think about, what the payment options are for people, how a sales rep is going to try and convince someone, or maybe in your bricks and mortar store, the atmospherics. What does it look like? Is that going to encourage someone to buy? Coming back after purchase, guys, we've got email, text, and app notifications, basically just to the transactional process as you're purchasing. Are you getting all of those pieces, an online receipt, delivery options, all of those types of things? We've got packaging, installation, and delivery there on the physical side. But then on the digital side for service, we've got these chat options where you can actually talk to somebody from the company. Customer relationship management, obviously maybe through a ticketing system or something on your website. Allowing customers to give feedback. And in the same way physically. And then we start getting into the loyalty expansion. So, maybe a newsletter, an email that gives you product releases in the future, updates on the company, different promotions, loyalty programs like points and things like that, social media follows, subscriptions, and recommendations. So all of that type of content is going to drive people to be loyal to your brand, and it keeps people in your mind. Because as we come to the next slide here, guys, we can talk about the rule of 7, which essentially means that for touch points, anytime you are exposed to a brand, essentially they've looked at this, they've studied it, and 7 times is the average amount of times that you need to be exposed to a brand to actually convert. So now this was studied about 10 years ago, so it's actually gone up closer to 10 now, because we are inundated with ads and we see branding all over the place. So people are actually getting a bit of brand fatigue. So the rule of 7 is actually more like the rule of 10 now. But yeah, it's basically any time you're exposed to a touch point from a company. If you see those 7 times, you're very likely or more likely to actually purchase that product. So the idea there is that when you're strategizing, you make sure you have at least 7 places where someone's going to see your branding. So does that mean sending an email? People seeing something on YouTube? Maybe a television ad? Text? What are those 7 points where people are going to see that concerted throughout their customer journey to actually make that decision to purchase from that company? Okay, moving on. This is the RACE framework. So this is reach, act, convert, and engage. This is more of a digital marketing strategy. It's not so much a general one. It's focused on more of the actions in the digital strategy world. Of course, reach is the first one. Reach is pretty generic. You reach many people with a TV ad, but reach is really, really important for digital marketing. How many people can you actually get your message out to? How many people are on your email subscriber list? How many fans or followers do you have on your social media? What type of resources, what type of finances are you allocating to search engine marketing, for example? How many people is that actually going out to? So basically, you're trying to publish and promote your content. And when we're thinking about KPIs here, what type of metrics we should be following as part of the reach stage? Who are the unique visitors to your website? Like, who are new visitors? How much value are you getting out of that visit? So, how much money are unique visitors, new people coming to your site, actually spending on your site? That should be able to tell you how effective all of your optimization on your site is, and how many fans and followers do you have. Is that growing? We need to reach out and get as big a customer base as possible. The second one is act. So that's from your own perspective. So make sure that everything you're doing digitally is optimized, essentially. Optimize your website, SEO, all of the interactive tools, all of the tech stack that you're using, all of your content. Make sure it's inspiring. Make sure that it catches and hooks people in. And when we're looking at KPIs there in that second step, we might be looking at leads, how many people are actually signing up or subscribing, how long people stay on the site. Is the content on the site engaging, and it actually keeps people there? And then basically your sentiment, shares, comments, and likes. What are people doing on social media? That comes down to convert. So basically, we're trying to get people aware. Kind of, as we mentioned, guys, it's kind of similar to the customer journey. Reach out is making people aware. Acting is trying to create their drive their interest and make them consider the product, is to get them to purchase. So this is where we might capitalize on marketing. CRO is conversion rate optimization. So how do we get the best possible conversion rate? Is that sending targeted promotions, remarketing? So if we know people are already looking for products, how effectively are we targeting them? And then for KPIs there, we're looking at sales, we're looking at revenue and profit, we're looking at average order value potentially. And then the last one, guys, is our customer loyalty, the engage part of it. So we want to engage customers past the purchase stage. Post-purchase, we want to make sure that we are still engaging with them because we want them to become lifetime customers. We want them to come back and buy from us again. So that's to do with our customer service. It's to do with satisfaction surveys, looking at how many repeat purchases they're doing, what type of reviews they're leading. That's all going to be important in terms of how we keep them coming back. So you'll see the next one here, guys, is ADA. And you may have heard of ADA before, but it stands, it's a model of customer generation. So you're actually trying to create customers and then get them to convert. And it starts for attention, interest, desire, and action. So the same way that we had the race one there, attention is reach, interest is act, desire is convert. Well, actually, action is convert. So desire and interest are the act part, and then engage is the customer loyalty afterwards, which ADA kind of puts at the back end there. So basically, with ADA, guys, we're trying to get as many potential customers as possible as we go down and eliminate as many non-potential customers. So if people aren't interested, we don't obviously want them coming to our sites. We want to, as they naturally drop off towards this conversion, keep as many as we can as we go down, because eventually we will get down to a select few who are actually taking action. So we are trying to keep as many on the potential side and remove as many on the potential, the non-customer side. When we look at that in terms of phases, there's 3 phases here. So we've got demand generation, actually creating demand for product. Then we're harvesting. So basically, how do we capitalize on that demand that we've created already? So we want to activate those customers to actually convert. And then the last part of it is loyalty building. So how do we actually get them to come back? again, guys, you can see how that matches the customer journey and the race framework. Pretty similar. We're all trying to direct people towards action and then take care of them after that. Okay, just looking at demand generation, the first step of the ADA model. How would we generate demand for these products? And again, guys, you can pause the video here and see if you can think about that for a second. We're going to jump straight into the answers here. So just a couple of notes on these. The smartwatch here was not popular when it first came out because people didn't know what it was for. There was no demand generated for it, so they hadn't generated any demand because people didn't know how to use it or what to do. So basically, Apple and other companies started collabing with partners, with influencers, celebrities, to try and show how this tech actually worked and what it was good for in terms of the health benefits and things like that, rather than just seeing a watch. So once they did that, they started getting this demand generation. It was the same for Airbnb. People didn't quite know exactly why or what the platform was or how it could be used. So Airbnb put a lot of resources into their marketing there to actually educate people, that awareness stage, or the ADA, the first ADA stage, their attention, to actually show people how to use it. And then it kicked off. The McRib again is another interesting one. That's a scarcity tactic there. So the strategy there is to take it off and on the market to create demand for it. Going into the second stage is demand harvesting. So we want to think about removing obstacles. So what are the things that we can remove in terms of the things that might stop someone from buying something, for example? So that could be the price, that could be an obstacle, the availability, the risk. So how do we remove that? A paid search ad would work well here, guys, because we already know that people are looking for it. They've already got their attention. They've already got their interest. They're already maybe considering. So we want to harvest this demand. So a paid search ad would work well here because we are giving them options. We are putting that in front of them, maybe like a promo or something like that. We're putting those products in front of people to actually make them say, pick me. Okay, just a couple of things here, guys. We're looking at let's go back here. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Looking at the different tactics for each of these different areas. So you can pause it here again, guys, and look at SEO, paid search ads, email, social media ads, social media posts, or display ads. Where would they fit in these three different areas? So you can hear, guys, generation, getting your ads in front of people, generating that demand, making people aware of it, making people desire it. Those ones are all going to work well. Social media works well with demand harvesting because you're using those touch points there. And then loyalty building, obviously jumping into those steps as well. You want to put these in one of the three areas, guys. Don't try and do everything at once. Focus on one area and then move to the next one. Okay. Our last one here, guys, is POEM, which stands for the different types of media that a company could make, or content. I guess we'd call it media content. So POEM stands for first, paid or sold media. The second one here is owned media. The third one is earned, and the M is media. We also have a newer one, guys, is hijacked media. But let's quickly have a look at these. Paid and sold, obviously, these are pieces of content, ads, things like that, that either you have paid for yourself on a search engine, on someone else's website, with an affiliate, and then obviously the physical versions of that as well. Um, Owned media is using your own channels, so your own website, your own social media, email, your stores. How can you put content into those channels that you already have? Earned media is one of the really important ones because this is great for customer loyalty. These are things that users create, content that users create, like reviews, shares, likes, influencer content, Yelp reviews, things like that. That's all earned media. We earn it from the consumer. And that is actually really important to try and help up our customer loyalty. And then the last one here is hijack media. It's not really one of the main ones, but basically, anything that's like a parody or a critique. When someone puts out an ad, someone else basically hijacks it and gets the attention from someone else's post. This one here, I'm not sure you can quite see it, but it's a Pepsi can with a Coke costume. So Pepsi put out ad saying Coca-Cola is just it was a Halloween costume, and then Coke hijacked that ad, and their post, they used the exact same ad, and their post was "Real heroes wear capes." So they're saying that that's a hero, where Pepsi's saying that Coke is a monster. So interesting back and forth there in terms of hijack media. But just have a quick look. Here it is. We wish you a scary Halloween. That's the original one. This is the Coca-Cola response. We've got some earned media there. And then the next one, guys, is how all of these fit on top of each other. So they actually all work towards the same thing there, guys. We can see the customer journey at the top there: awareness, consideration, purchase, service, and loyalty. That fits really nicely into the reach, act, convert, and engage. ADA also fits in there: attention, interest and desire, action, and then loyalty building. And then with Poem, we've got the paid media, the ones where we're trying to get people's attention or their awareness. Owned media, when they actually come to our websites, they might be considering or purchasing. And then the earned media is basically the reviews and the feedback we get from consumers afterwards. So all of these kind of fit quite well together. They're all slightly different stages as you go through. But pretty much, you can take the same strategies in these 5 different stages as you go through. Just a couple of things to talk about with customer loyalty in terms of the things you might be looking for KPIs. You might want to look for your purchase breadth. So how many varieties of products a customer's buying? So does someone buy multiple different products? The frequency, so how often are they purchasing products, which can be quite different depending on what website you are with. If it's a furniture website, you're probably only buying, once every couple of years. If we're talking about a groceries website, then you might be purchasing frequently. So, and then the purchase amount, do you purchase the cheap products or are you purchasing more expensive products? The one thing, guys, the one strategy we need to think about here is the Pareto principle. So this applies not just to digital marketing, but to everything. 20% of your customers account for 80% of your sales. So with digital marketing, we can see how important targeting is, because obviously 20% of our customers are buying most of our products. So we need to target them more effectively than we do sort of some of the other people. If we're spending lots of money targeting that 80%, we're not going to see anywhere near as much return as if we target those 20% of people. Okay, a couple of things. Exposure effectiveness, first thing here. So basically, how many people are going to see your ad? If someone sees your ad, how much has their intent to purchase increased? So if I'm like, I'm 20% likely to buy a car in the next 5 years, and then I see an ad, which is a beautiful ad for a new Tesla Y model, and I think, oh wow, that looks amazing. Now I'm at 30%. My exposure effectiveness there is 10%, increasing those ads. So, guys, we can see here, just looking at this question, which one would have the highest concentration. So, which one the most people see, and then what would be the exposure effectiveness. When we look at a couple of these here, the cost efficiency as well. Email doesn't cost very much, gets sort of medium to high concentration, so that many people see it, but it is medium to high in the effectiveness. So it's going to help increase people's intent to buy. SEO, the cost depends on what you're doing, but also medium to high there, and also medium to high in terms of exposure effectiveness. A paid search ad, so putting an ad on something like Google, it's going to be higher for how much it actually costs. But remember, that's going to find people specifically based on their search intent. So you're going to get lots of the right people looking at it. And from that, if you're in the top 2 or 3 people on your search results, that's got a pretty high click-through rate. So people are actually going to click on those first few ads there. One thing we haven't mentioned yet is the rates for people clicking where they're ranked. We'll look at this in the SEO section, but you've basically got to rank in the top 3 search results on a Google page to be able to get high exposure effectiveness. Social media, again, it's pretty high right across the board. Social media posting, if you're boosting your posts, depends on how much you boost it, but doesn't have a high exposure effectiveness. So that's something to think about. It's not very effective. Display ads, really low. That's the ones that you see, the banner ads that pop up on websites. People tend to ignore those, so they've got a low exposure effectiveness there. Of questions here around custom teas. Just go and have a look at that, guys. We can look at the demand harvesting again here, guys, in terms of the returns, the time frame, how much it's actually going to take from a resource perspective, and the allocation there. So I'll let you guys go back and have a look at that in terms of the and loyalty building. And we want to have a look at the metric monitoring as well. So I'll let you guys have a look at that. But that is basically the end of that one there, guys. So make sure you have a look at the activity for week 3. Go in and get that done. And the quiz there as well for this one is chapter 13, but you're also doing chapter 2 web design.